Hey party people! Hey guys! Happy holidays! Happy New Year! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Presley and today we are going to be talking about my top 10s. Your girl read 80 books this year. 80 freaking books! Can you believe that? To see every single book I read this year, link down in the description to my Goodreads. Go look at it. Like, it's actually really impressive. But anyways, we're going to be talking about my top 10 new releases I read this year and then my top 10 favorites of the whole year. Before you do anything, like and subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and let's get started with the video. Starting with number 10 on this list, I have Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenny Elder Munn. This book was really fun. I think it has potential and it's going places. And you know, I really like ciphers and codes in Ireland. I'll just say it's fun. We'll leave it at that. If you like stuff like that, give it a try. I think that this series has great potential to end up somewhere really fun. The next book it's my number 9. We have A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmer. I really liked A Curse So Dark and Lonely. The rest of the series was not my favorite. But that doesn't mean that I still didn't enjoy Prince Ren and Gray and just really all the characters. It was fun. I do recommend them. That's all we're gonna say. For number 8, we have The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is a fantastic storyteller. I love her books. The Inheritance Games and The Hawthorne Legacy is no exception. I did really enjoy these books. However, I do think that she can do better. The Natural series by her, she does do better. Go read those. But in the meantime, we do love the Inheritance Games. The puzzles, the mystery, it's all fun. If you're a fan of Knives Out, I think that this is the way to go. It's fun. It's so fun. This is basically just my fun list of fun books. Okay. Now, we're really getting into where I have more complicated answers. Basically, first of all, this matches my outfit. We have The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. This was really fun, but not in the same way because I don't have the love for the characters like I do in The Hawthorne Legacy. I kind of don't really care about them. I like Stevie, but however, with that being said, the murder, the plot, the whodunit is so good in this book because you're like, wow, like it's shocking. It is so good. It's shocking. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I read it in like one day. These are fun books. Go read the Truly Devious series if you like fast-paced murder mysteries. The next book won Best YA Fantasy on Goodreads for the year, which, I mean, no surprise there. We have Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. First of all, her books are incredible. I was so lucky to binge the whole Grishaverse this year. And they're so good. It's so good. And Bardugo is like top tier fantasy and world building. She's so good at it. The characters I do love. There's no way to not love them. It's so fun. I highly recommend. Also, can we just stop and look at, like, this book's kind of big. And I read this in like a week, and like I'm so impressed with myself because this is a lot. And I see, you know what Bardugo can do that other people can't? She can just throw a bunch of characters in, and you're like, yes, I love those characters. If you've read this book, you know what I mean by that. The next book I have also matches my outfit, and it's also a Bridget Kemmer book. We have Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmer. It's so fun. It's so good. First of all, the plot twist. We all know what plot twist I'm talking about. It's like an early on plot twist, so you're like, oh my god, like what's the rest of the book gonna be like? It's just entertaining. It's different. I haven't read something like this, so we had a good time with it. It's good. I do recommend this. I think I like it more than A Curse So Dark and Lonely, so definitely go pick up this book. This series has great potential. I'm really excited to see where it's going. So for the 4th spot on my list, my cousin also has this book. we have As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This book shook me to my core. I was freaking terrified. I was terrified, and if you read this book, you would be terrified too, because it's terrifying, and it turned out it's so good. I cannot believe she ended this series this way, but before I talk about it more, it's on my other list, so we're just gonna move on to the next three because they're also on my other list. In third place, we have All of Us Villains by Christine Lynn Herman and Amanda Foody. We have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood in second place. And then third place, we have Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. This is no surprise. All these books are amazing. Y'all should go read them. But let's dive into my other list where I can talk about detail. Okay, here's what we've all really been waiting for. My top 10 books out of the 80 books. 80 freaking choices here, guys. I read this year. Coming in at number 10, I don't have a copy of. It is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I enjoyed the Cruel Prince series more than I'm willing to admit, and I find myself just thinking back to The Queen of Nothing all the time. And you can't deny that, like, Carden and Jude are such unique characters. I loved that about them. It was fun. Now that I can talk in more detail about this, in number 9 we have All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Kristen Lynn Herman. Okay, if you imagine a world where the wizarding competition and the Hunger Games could be best friends, you would get something like this. And like Gossip Girl. I just thoroughly enjoyed how the characters in this book interacted, how they came together, how they disliked each other, how they liked each other, and their history, and how their own values really shone through. Like, some of them were like, I like family. Some of them are like, I don't care about my family. And it was fantastic. This is super fun. I really liked this. This is definitely something I'm going to recommend to my friends. But clearly, my friends need to give me my books back. Just kidding. Number 7, we have Shadow and Bone. And I mean, we have the trilogy here because, first of all, you cannot deny that this is just a fun trilogy. Shadow and Bone got me back into reading. I was just having a big reading slump for like a year. And then I decided to pick up Shadow and Bone because the TV show is coming out, and I do not regret it. It just made me want to devour books again. And you can't deny, like, these books are so fun. The Darkling gets a 10 out of 10 always. I love him. And I probably will reread Shadow and Bone one day. Probably just Shadow and Bone. But I loved these. I loved them so much. If you want a fantasy trilogy that's just exciting, and then you can go watch the TV show, just like read them. Like, what are you doing? So in 7th place, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I recently just started getting into like romance books, and this was so fun. I adored this book, and I thought that Adam reminded me so much of Adam Driver. And then I found out that this is like loosely based on Reylo. I'm a huge Star Wars girl, and Reylo, I don't care how you feel about the sequels, I like Reylo. And so this was just so fun, and now that I've discovered that it's a Reylo fanfiction, kind of, that's how it originated, that's just, I thought this was so cute. It's so cute. I highly recommend this if you are into romance and Reylo. And it's just, yeah, read it. It makes your heart so happy. Oh my gosh, so I'm totally late to the train on this one. But coming in at number 5, I finished the Illuminate files. So I read Gemina and Obsidio this year. And these books are the definition of fun. I know I keep using that word, but they are so good. I loved the characters. No offense to any authors out there, but if you need a blueprint on how to make characters interact and these are so good. I will always recommend these. They're such good, top tier sci-fi. I've never read a book that's told in this kind of way. In case you don't know about these books, they're all told through like files, And like, it's largely based on AI and artificial intelligence. It is so easy to read. They're just so good. Coming in at number 5, I knew picking it up that it was going to be one of my favorite books of this year. We have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This was so fun. I adored Alessandra's character in this. I can't wait for the sequel, although I am not happy that it's told from her sister, because I'm on Alessandra's side. Her sister probably sucks. As of right now, I was left wanting more and more and more. This is so good. Coming in 4th place, we have the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. My cousin has my copies. Books are so good. And I love Pip and Ravi. I love Pip as a character. I love what she stands for. She is a good girl, but even more so, she's a good person. She has a good heart, and I love her passion. I love people who are passionate. I love people who aren't afraid to just love what they think is great in life. Pip is one of those people. She is so passionate about true crime, and it makes me passionate about true crime. Like I said earlier, this book scared me so much, but in a great way because it's lasting. Coming in at number 3, we have, I don't have copies of them, we have The Monsters of Verity duology. These books, I love them. I feel like they're so close to my heart. I wish I could be best friends with the characters. Victoria Schwab is really freaking talented. Her writing's so good. I can't rave about it enough. Just go read it. It's so good. It is so good. So coming in at number 2, someone else has my copy, but we have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and I do have this copy because I wanted it, and Crooked Kingdom. We get to count them all together, but more so I loved Six of Crows because Crooked Kingdom broke my heart. Six of Crows is so good. I want the characters in my life. I think about them every day. I bought a candle literally for every single character off of Briarwick. Briarwick, you should sponsor me. I will always recommend this book to people. I have an Apple Music playlist about all these characters. I think that they are fantastic. Go read this book. Top tier fantasy. Top tier everything. One of the best books I've ever read. Definitely gonna have to reread it later in life. Okay, so number 1, I don't know why I loved this book so much, and these are all really close, but we have Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. More so this book. They were both so good, and I was just so excited and in love with the characters and just loving life at the time when reading them. But this was so fun. I cannot even describe how much fun I had. It was like a roller coaster that just kept going uphill and it never went downhill. I had a great time. I was just loving life. I bought myself a Wrath candle, also from Briarwick, because I want the 3rd book now. These books were so good. I think that they feel like mythology to me. It's like taking legend and fantasy and fairy tales and wrapping them up in the most perfect way. That is all for my top 10s of the 80 books I read this year. I can't stop saying 80 because I'm very impressed with myself. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be sitting here next year saying 100. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and Happy New Year!